Yes, everybody was good. Another amazing Wednesday from your favorite WCW. And everybody say hello to my co-host,
Hey,
Jay.
what's up, young world? The world is yours. It's JIG 3125.
Yes, and we have an amazing, legendary show. We got no other than CL Smooth in the building.
What's going on? Pleasure to be
Yes,
here. Pleasure to
yes.
be here.
I'm happy you here. I'm excited.
Absolutely.
Like I lost
Yeah,
my whole entire
Definitely.
shit
It's
when
all
I
love.
when I knew this was going down today. It's a privilege and
Pleasure.
definitely an
Pleasure always.
honor to have you in my motherfucking chair right
That's
now.
right.
I'm sorry, I'm hyped, but I gotta contain myself.
Woosah, woosah.
So what's going on?
Everything's good. Just happy to be here, living life, enjoying life, and just a pleasure to do what you love.
Yes, and I see that you coming back out like you never left. You got a
Definitely.
few joints out there.
Definitely.
Yes. So you put out a dope single in February, I do believe,
Right,
this
right.
year. Yeah, just in town. So we played that here already. We was sent the music, and I was like, oh, we gotta do
Yeah, I saw
something.
you bumping it. I appreciate
Yes,
it.
we was bumping. We was in
Definitely.
here. We had the whole studio
Definitely.
on tilt with that song.
Definitely.
So what made you come up with that song? Why Just in Town? What does that mean?
I think it was just something that, you go in the studio and you just want to create something different for yourself. You don't want to really put pressure on what people want to hear from you or what you need to create. You just want it to be organic. And that's something that, me and the producer, Wayno, it was just organic. We were just doodling in the studio and he just said, well, maybe you need to come out with this type of shock treatment record where people don't really hear you like this.
Yeah.
So organic, so street, so Taylor Port wine with a touch of that cigar.
You really think? Cause I don't know. Like I feel like you was always a lyricist, and I felt like you was so smooth about your delivery. And I get that from Just in Town too. Like it's like you never skip the beat. You know how sometimes artists take a little leave of absence or whatever, and when they come back, they try to go all the way left that it doesn't work.
Right.
But it fits you well and stuff like
I
that.
just think about people who are word conscious of explicit lyrics. And I think that I was always confined to that heavy D model of don't curse. And here you have me going against the grain, sort of. I have before with different soundtracks of Menace to Society and so forth and so on. Who's the man?
Yeah.
And having these explicit lyrics, but I think people are very conscious of that I'm not an explicit rapper. So when they hear that, it's like magnified 10 times. But it's all about your artwork. Every artwork is different. Every painting of a picture is different. So you just want to allow yourself the full spectrum of creativity rather than be limited to talking like I'm giving a speech every day.
Yeah, well, I really didn't get that from you this whole time. You got that from him?
From his earlier projects, not like preaching or nothing like that, but you get a message from what he's
Yes.
putting down, from
Yes.
Reckoning Soul Brother and beyond.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was like you actually got something. You could retain something and be entertained at the same time.
Right.
And your wordplay is so amazing. Like I really I wanted to go back and listen to all your work to prepare for this interview. Not saying because I was always a fan since back then. I don't want to really show my age like that.
It's
but
alright,
you know. So I wanted it to and there was so many joints that I forgot about you or whatever. But I do want to take a small break, and I want us to really hear Just in Town one more again. And if you never heard of it, here's your debut right now. Selector, are you ready though? You ready? Just in Town, CL Smooth, and we'll be right back with it though. Let's get it.
Word.
Bump that though, like I want to hear that shit. I'm gonna go on my video.
You say you're just in town for the weekend. Well, that's quite enough time to get that freaking. I'll take that down, that leaking. You gotta make much of that time creeping. Baby, when you say you're just in town, baby, so we get it poppin' now.
I don't give a she got her own bread. $1 million with that bar
Nah, that though, you know the vibes. You know the vibes.
Say we got jokes, leave them in stitches. Smoke this, sip that. Half an hour later in a cat, who be that? You, them bros be flocking around. Get bending out now, get it down. Go too deep, them get drowned. Corey Penn, CL, we killing They it say you're just in town for the weekend. Well, that's quite enough time to get that freaking. I tell that downtown, how that leaking. You got a man, but you got a town creeping. Baby, you say you're just in town. Baby, so we get it right now. Flying all the way to NY. To see your boy blazing with the bow tie.
Oh,
Strong
you
like
talking
the
about
nigga
the
that old
picture?
From
The
the prince to the king,
You
that's
can
what
put that
does
up
crime.
on now. Because when you come back in, I want to talk about SOB.
Catch a charge, murder was the case. Attract dimes, map. Back up on my bull, stupid flows. Shorty know I'm only here for the weekend. What your man don't know, he not speaking. He the box up, have it leaking. Bad, half black Puerto Rican. You say you're just in time. 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 Say you calling me. Pick up on calling me. I got the drop top pulling up in front, but you see I'm ballin' now. You say you're just in town for the weekend, but that's quite enough time to get that freaking. I said I down, that leaking. You got a man, but you got a top creeping, baby, you say you're just in time, baby, so we get it right now.
The Matrix Radio Vision Live with DWI. Live from the BXN Broadway.
Yes, you just in town for the weekend. You trying to be a thought with CL Smoke,
Yo, what?
right?
Let's get it.
Let's get it though.
Oh,
your
They
remix
don't
on?
know. I got the remix.
You got the
I pull a
remix?
remix out my pocket. They don't know.
That's right.
Yeah. So what inspired that? And did you get a lot of that, throughout your career? That just in town for the weekend?
Well, I think it was just a vibe. I think I got a lot of mixed signals. People want the positive vibes, and then you have this organic street vibe that I just came with that just was just what I'm used to hearing every day, but now I'm expressing it in my music. But it's what I hear every day from native New Yorkers, just that vibe of coming in for the weekend and doing your thing and making your presence felt and making that impact and then leaving town and everybody wishing you come back.
Yeah, but how many ladies you had with that caramel
Come on,
City
Cha-Cha, man.
for
You
the
trying to get-
weekend?
Come on, man.
Huh?
Don't do that to me.
I try
Have to.
I try to be selective.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I try to
Okay.
be selective.
All right, so everybody should know that there's gonna be an event at SOB's Ladies Night.
Yes, definitely for the ladies. I mean, being 2019,
Okay.
ladies have been through a lot. They take a lot of flack publicly, privately,
We do. Though. Thank
in
you.
society. So it's time for us to give back as men
Yeah.
a higher appreciation than we normally do.
Alicia. You
know what I'm saying?
I
So-
agree.
I mean, I'm giving back for a reason of what has been done to me, and my success is all contributed to a lot of women, positive role model women in my life, such as my mom, my grandmother, my aunts, my great aunts, my cousins, people who have made an impact on my career as well as my personal life and my creativity and my natural organic being towards family and my children. So I felt it was time to give back. So on Sunday, November 24th, at the
24th,
legendary
yeah.
SOBs, an intimate evening with CL Smooth, one night only, where you'll never hardly get to see CL Smooth be so deliberate in giving back to the ladies like we're going to do on November 24th at the legendary SOB. So this is a very important night. We want all the ladies to come out. The men can come out, but
And
definitely
bring your extra panties to throw on stage. Not the period panties.
Yo,
Bring the nice
what?
lacy
Yo, what?
joints. Some boy shorts.
Yo,
let's get
man.
it, you know.
Yo,
Because I'm going to have like 2, 3, or 4 of them motherfuckers.
She needs no room.
I'm aiming for his face. Yes.
Yo, what?
Yes.
Yo,
I
wow,
am.
yo, you
I'm
wow.
a child, but I
You
am.
wow, man.
Yeah, so like what's some of the, like you have some surprises like rose petals, because you know that's like.
Well, I love roses too. I think some roses is sufficient. I think a bottle of champagne, maybe a gift, a treat bag or something.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Something that sets the mood and sets the tone for what tonight brings and the celebration and the party that we're trying to establish. And I think it'll go on. I think it's going to be a great night for everybody.
I think that is so sexy because a lot of men don't do that, whether they rappers or even R&B singers. They don't really do that. They don't have that touch. That reminds me of like 80s, 70s. You know, Teddy Pendergrass.
I've been looking at a lot of that.
Yeah,
You
don't
know, I've been
see
studying a lot of that
Even
DeBarge,
Jodeci,
that Teddy
DeBarge,
Pendergrass, that
yeah.
Al Green. Yeah.
But see, what's so dope about it is hip hop. You don't really
Exactly.
find that all hip hoppers they'll do is take off their motherfucking shirt, walk across the stage, and then you know you got ladies falling out. But the
Right.
fact that you actually considering them and putting them to the forefront. I know that you mentioned your moms and like
Right.
family members
Right.
had a great impact in your life. But not too long ago, and it's been a topic that we've been discussing, how women are actually they may not be the gatekeepers of hip hop, but they actually run a lot of stuff as far as like PR people, managers, you know, other journalists, even radio hosts. A
Right.
lot of people are in the entertainment,
Executives.
exactly, you know, or A&Rs. A lot of them are women now. How did you have that early on in your career where your team was made up predominantly of women? And if not, do you have that now?
Well, my experiences were always that women had a little bit more intricacy in caring what your vision is about.
Didn't I say that shit? I was like, we handle shit with care, like we finesse it.
Yeah, so they know how to present you when you're not smiling enough, when your shoulders are not up, when your head is not up, when you're not doing the things that men normally wouldn't tell each other. Women are very intricate in seeing you succeed, in getting into the fine details of things. And most of all, it's not what you say, it's the way you say it. So the way they present things are a little bit more understanding and a little bit more soaking in. Rather than swallowing a brick, they give you a little bit of water to put down with that.
With a hint, with a teaspoon of sugar, right?
There you go, baby.
Yeah,
There you
I
go.
know, I know they finesse the joint. Yeah, and oh, you wanted to say something?
No, I was just laughing, but where did the name CL Smooth come from?
I think he was just sitting down in Hev's living room one day with Big Daddy Kane, and we were just going over what my aspirations are. And in the street, it was always Corey Love. So they say, you know, Corey Love, I think that you should be just CL. Let's just be CL. And the way you carry yourself, it's like you're a smooth guy. So
Yeah, but
they
you
all
be-
came up
you
with
be
it.
Hitting, you be in pocket so smooth too. Like the way you come on the beat, your delivery, the way you ride, you know, it's so smooth as well. That's how I took the smooth part to your
Right.
name. I just thought that you did it so eloquently, you know, how you wrote a beat and stuff like that. From then to now, how you think your music has changed?
I think I've gotten more where I want to be challenged. I don't just want to go in the studio and do what I did back in 1991 or 1992, or I have to have a 90s sounding beat, or I have to just chase this young CL Smooth. I think my evolution speaks for itself. My broadened creativity and thought process has elevated, and when you're wiser and you grow older, your definition of being challenged is different. It's a different narrative. So when I go in the studio, I don't want to just things to be easy. I want to be challenged. I want to know how to accomplish how I approach music. What are the keys to making it successful, and what are the challenges of taking me from the normal sounding CL Smooth that everyone's used to the 2020 CL Smooth that everybody should be accustomed to the growth of.
Yes, and I appreciate that. Now, we up on the anniversary of celebrating the legendary Heavy D, and I know he was family. You know, y'all was clicked up. Y'all was in everybody's videos. You know, but since we're talking to the newer generation, what's some of the can you share a story or can you tell us how Heavy impacted your career and your personal life? Because I know it was personal as well outside of the music.
I think Heavy D just being how he carried himself as a big man, the way he dressed, the way he approached things, his charismatic figure, how he was your favorite rapper's parents' favorite rapper, and most of all, how he spoke on things and how he projected things and his thought process of being who he was as a great actor, as a great producer, as a great father. A lot of people don't know he was a great father. So I'm looking at that and emulating that was something that the lessons that were invaluable to me. So a lot of things that he did and he did around me really impact me today. The way I dress, the way I carry myself, the way I present myself to the public. I mean, these are things that when you're young, you don't really look at as you're doing, but as it rubs off on you as you get older, you go back to him to the way he gave you the lessons to be who you are. And it's just highly appreciated. I miss him very much, and I love him for everything he's done for me. And every time somebody gives you something, it's not necessarily the money they're giving you that's the value. It's the thought process and what he taught you that is the money. That is more money than he could ever give me.
Yeah, because I was looking at other interviews and just seeing how you talk about Heavy D, like one incident when you, at the beginning of you and Troy's relationship, how it was like a beef situation, and you spoke how he squashed that beef,
Right.
like he brought you, like, Brick, go in my car, and,
Right,
you know, he was that person.
Absolutely.
How did that change not only the relationship between you and Troy, but how you looked at Heavy, being that he was the mediator of that situation, you know, because it could have, the way you described the fight,
It could have went.
everything
It
like
could have
that,
went very bad.
Exactly.
It could have went very
so
bad, and it was going
It
bad.
sounded horrible.
It
like,
was
the
going
way
bad.
You described
Yeah.
that situation. I was just envisioning it in my mind, and I'm like, God damn.
But I wanted everybody to feel that because it's so many people that could relate to that situation, but the situation was never controlled. The situation was never solved. So when the situation gets out of hand like that, sometime and you have somebody who can reel it back in and let people know, hey, you were wrong for this. Hey, you should have carried this different. Hey, there's nothing wrong with what he did. There's something wrong with what you did. And the way he solved it, he knew that I wasn't in the wrong. I was approached first. I was the one that was playing the defense. I know I'm not a saint, but in this particular situation, there was no getting around it. It was either do what you got to do or have a problem every time you see this guy. So just luckily, Hev was there to be wise enough to have a solution, and that's what I got out of it. This guy had a solution, and he had a plan implemented how to squash this beef, how to make this work, and move on from it most of all, and be successful and be loving at the same time, and not be judgmental, not take sides.
Well, I kind of appreciate the fact that he did that at that time because do you feel like had he not stepped in and mediated the situation, would we have reminisced?
No, we would. No, we would.
Reminisce over you?
No, I don't think so.
Wow, that's right.
I don't think we would have had it because it would have got. It was too serious. What happened to his. We're talking about family, right? We're talking about if we're out there really trying to hurt each other and your family member gets hurt, all bets is off. Or we're not cool no more. It's going to take something drastic to change the narrative of that. And that's what happened. That was him.
Drastic thing.
He changed it. He changed it, and they had because really and truly, his brother was in a coma. So I'm expecting the cops to come. I'm expecting there to be a problem. You know that people are going to get locked up from that situation. But this guy, handled it. It was in the street, and he kept it right there. And don't forget, he may be older than us, but he was young too.
Yeah.
He was a
That's
young
what I
kid
was
too.
saying. That's what I was thinking too. Like he's right there with y'all.
Yeah, he was a young kid too. So for him to act beyond his age is the reason why he's who he is. You know, if we act mature, then we get better results. When we act like children and we don't allow ourselves to grow, then these simple problems that could be squashed, they get out of hand. And then there's nobody there to do anything but feed it. And it can only get worse from
And
there.
you know, there's always people around to feed the negative energy as opposed
But that's
to.
how it got to that.
Yeah.
It got to that because they would kept
The
feeding it.
spectators.
They kept feeding it and feeding it. And remember, he was on. I wasn't on.
Okay. So
He
you
was
wasn't-
on.
You wasn't recording with
I wasn't recording like that. I wanted to be on. I was like this much away.
Okay.
And once that happened, it just put me in.
That was
They had no choice but
So
to.
that situation got
That
you.
situation just sealed it.
Okay.
Because it was like he was on. He came up there looking like $1 million to fight.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I'm still in the street, still scrambling, still going to night school, still trying to be that young man and still have aspirations and ambition.
So it was some positive that came out of it then.
Absolutely.
positive.
I'm just
Absolutely.
We got TROY.
I'm just
Absolutely.
saying, like, for the people at home that's following along, I'm just
Okay.
trying to.
Because it's like the song. You change that negative into a positive.
We have
You know what I'm
other
saying?
stuff.
For everything to be manifested, for us to heal. And when you have a story like that, then anybody can do that. And all these things that how these people have died, if they had a mediator, if they had somebody who they highly respected as a mediator and a go-between, you would see a lot more people living than dying.
That's a fact.
You think, had that situation happened in current day, with all the social media, because you said a lot of people, you know, was gassing and being spectators and like feeding into the negative energy, do you think that you would have overcame that situation in present day with all the social media and everybody having an opinion about something? Where
Good
it would've
question.
been like on a grander scale.
I don't think so. Because now it's changing where we're holding our feelings on our sleeves more than thinking. Everything is about the reaction instead of the thought. See, we don't have to think no more. It thinks for us. And we allow people to think for us now. We're looking for validation. We're looking for a reaction from someone else to validate ourselves. When you need to validate yourself and be validated by who you are and what you stand for, rather than who is liking what you do.
Yeah,
Do
or the numbers.
do you like what you do?
Yeah.
Do you enjoy what you do instead of someone else validating what you do? Do you really have the confidence to be on your own and not be liked? How I got to where I am is not being liked, not being loved, not being liked. My love came from the family structure. That's why I'm giving back to the women, because I never had to go in the street to get a hug. I never had to go in the street to be validated and get love. I came with that, and I shared it with them. So they knew who I was from the giddy up. I just was able to be a warrior in doing it. I wasn't a sheep. I was the wolf.
And do you consider like all this following culture, they the sheep of today?
I think once you don't have yourself, your mind, and don't allow yourself to grow, and you still keep calling yourself young at 21, like that's the thing with me. I didn't mind being a young gun, but to tell me I'm not a man was a disrespect. I'm only 21 is not sufficient for me. I'm 21. I'm a man. Treat me like that. If I got $1 million at 21, I gotta be a man.
You got to be.
I gotta be. There's no other way around
Take
it.
care of families,
Right.
feed the hungry,
Exactly.
all that.
So there's no such thing as I'm young. I'm not young. My mind has never been young. I was always called the old man because I had an old soul and an old spirit. I was raised by my grandparents. Not my mother was a teenage mother. So I was born with my mother in high school. So I always have my grandparents as an older mechanism. And everything CL Smooth is my grandfather. I just emulated him. He couldn't rap. So what I did was take his words and use it around, and take his personality and the way he describe things and became a rapper with it.
Well, they say you from Mount Vernon, New Rochelle, but
Oh,
like
hold on,
where
hold on,
your
hold on.
Both.
family
Money earning Mount Vernon.
That's right.
Fuck out of me. Right? Excuse
Come
me.
on, man. Heavy
Okay.
D,
All right.
Puffy, like,
All right.
like, come
All
on
right.
now. We can
Sorry.
go on and
All
on.
right.
I'm just
I don't
saying,
need-
my fault.
You know, my bad.
He said they came
I'm
out in
just
21,
saying.
he had millions. Like, what you talking
Yeah.
about?
So what? I'm just saying. All right? We in public. We got company. All right? Nah, yeah, so, like, but where you from? I feel like you rooted somewhere else. Like, you...
Well, you know, the first 8 years you grow up in that area, and then my mom, she got married, and we moved to Queens.
Okay.
So within that Murdoch, Hollis, Queens Village area is
Yes.
where I grew up and went to school, elementary, junior high school, and then up until 11th, 12th grade, I went back to New Rochelle, Mount Vernon area.
That's why I asked that question because
Yeah.
given the time frame of all of that, you have, like you said, Puffy, you got Heavy D,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go to Queens, and then it's Run DMC, and everybody, like you said, Hollis, everybody from there. What was that like before you got on?
I
Like,
think it was incredible to see
Yes,
to
share with
see
me. I wanna
to
know.
see runs go by his BMW with these smoke tinted windows, and me always hanging out in Hollis Park with Black Rock and Ron, which was a rap group that nobody really knew about, and they came from Hollis, Queens, and I always used to emulate them. And I had a friend that I used to hustle with. He was much older. His name was Everlasting, and Everlasting could really, really rap. The only reason why he couldn't rap is because he loved to smoke. He loved the shit. And back in the 80s, that's what they were doing. Either you were smoking or you wasn't. But this guy was so talented. And I used to tell him all the time, you need to stop that shit and really get down to this rapping shit. And here you have C.O. Smooth years later telling you that you should be a rapper. Well, one day I got on, and I remember it was like 1992. And this was like I made my first $500,000. So I felt the success. I had a success top 10 album, and I had a lot of money, more money than I can ever believe I would have as a little kid. So I'm walking into the diner, and we're all happy, and guess who I see? Everlasting. In the green jumpsuit that you get up north with the up north boots, with this big heavy set lady squeezed in the booth with him. So he sees me, gets up, he says, "Yo, what's up?" I'm like, "Yo," he's like, "Wow, look at you, you're a success now." I said, "Yeah, this is the shit you should have been doing." And look at I hope you come out and you just regular and you just do what you're supposed to do. But this guy he was a light-skinned guy with green eyes, waves that you get nauseous, and with a mole right here like Marilyn Monroe. I'm telling you,
Trifecta.
and had the gold teeth, and he was just
real pretty.
he was just the prettiest thing that you could. You know what I'm saying? And if he had the focus and he had the inner strength to be something and have that ambition and that hunger to sacrifice, because when I was growing up, you know, crack devastated all my friends. It made all my friends start smoking. So either you were smoking or you weren't. It was like my neighborhood was regular one minute, then you had all these zombies and all these rich guys. Yeah. So either you were doing that
Or selling it.
or you were rich. Yeah. You had either the big gold rope chains or you were a zombie. So it was like
missing teeth.
yeah. I mean, all that came with the territory. Yeah. So it was about the gradual evolution of what the streets were turning into and what life was like. And I survived all of that.
Yes, you did.
I survived all of that, and here's 2019 going on 2020. Yeah. And I could remember those days like yesterday when you can get a 5-minute, 10-minute real good fight. We didn't have to get to the guns. You could really get to a good fight. And I thought that's what Detroit thing was. Yeah. It was about a real good fight. Mm-hmm. If you want to see me, we could see each other like men. But all this shooting, and then you're shooting, and nobody that's really involved in the situation gets shot. An innocent bystander that has nothing to do with anything is getting shot. Mm-hmm. So my thing is, being men is more important than being these figures on the street. And when you really look at the street, and you really grow up and you grow and you have the pleasure to grow old and wise, and you know what the streets were about back then, you know the streets aren't the same. It's about working every day. It's about getting up and earning a check now. That is the real hustler. That is the real father. That is the real leader. Not the guys in the street. If you still in the street, it's unbelievable.
But who smokes crack still? Like,
I'm still trying to figure that shit out too, Cha-Cha.
Listen, let me tell you, you would be surprised
Who smokes
how
crack?
a guy that smokes crack right now is 19, 17 years old. And I'm saying you weren't even thought of when this drug came out.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
weren't even thought of when this drug came out. So when you're not learning, then you're not growing. So something as primitive and simple as crack, you can't dodge that bullet because you don't know about wisdom. You don't respect your elders. You don't respect your teachers. Your intake is not more than your outtake. So you're not balanced. We need balance in life. Our children are supposed to be our warriors, and the older guys like myself are supposed to be the counselors to let you know, nah, don't do that, do this. This is how you get to the money. You need at least 100. By the time you're doing this, you need 100. You don't need 10, 12. You need 100. So this is how you got to do it. So you sacrifice the party and making the name and making the date to have more. So while they partying and you not, yeah, they can come to you for a loan because you're the one that's disciplined. You're the one that really can facilitate a life to be lived. If you at the party and you spending, then you know you got to borrow. You know your priorities are not where they should be. It's about growth, and people respect success. So if you don't know the keys to success, then it's going to be hard for you.
Yes, that was real deep. And something that you said about men not always running to the gun. Shout out to Pops. I want to say rest in peace to Pops. We just lost him, and that's something that he said. I hope we could edit that in somewhere where we have that little clip of him actually explaining that too. So what you feel like is missing that we don't have the older generation being counselors no more, because it seems like there's a battle with the younger generation and the older generation. There's some type of disconnect there. What do you feel is the disconnect?
I think that, like, how you talk to people. I think how you present yourself and how you talk to people is a premium. I mean, you can't just talk to any little kid like a little kid, even if he acts like a little kid. You got to be able to feed him how he needs to feed him. Like I went back on the last conversation, you can't feed a baby a steak. You got to break it down and give him the baby food. And then when he's ready after that, then you give him some more.
So you feel like the older generation didn't do their job in delivering?
Right. I feel like the younger generation are way more receptive than we were. It's just that you got to know how to present it. If you're not setting an example, the right example, don't expect them to listen to you. They see everything you're doing now because nothing is to hide. So if you're not doing it, don't expect them to do it. Okay? You can get away with that 20, 30 years ago because nobody's watching. Everything is word of mouth. So I heard you with that. I heard you, but now I can see that's what you are. I'm not following that. I'm following this. So if you have more people who had a better dialogue in taking away the numbers game, because there's so many more young kids out there way more mature than older people. We not giving them the credit where the credit is due.
I hear that a lot because I interviewed a few of up and coming artists, and we even had a whole debate in the head where I lost my whole entire shit.
Yes, you did.
Arguing, right?
Yeah.
Arguing with an up and coming rapper. Shout out to 696 Maestro. We was really going at each other's necks. And he says that too. He said that too. When are y'all gonna give us the credit? When are y'all gonna pass the torch? We understand or whatever, but this is what we doing now. What do you feel about that?
I agree. I think, but you can, with that statement, it's impossible for you not to just intake from an elder because facts state you never stop learning.
That's where my
So
argument minutes.
Yeah, so once you stop thinking you know, once you think you know everything, you don't really know nothing.
And you don't learn.
So
There's no
you got to
room
be
for
recept
growth.
right. So you have what you know, but then you have what history knows because you're listening and you're receptive. Because if you don't know history, no matter what you know now, you're doomed to repeat the history. So you have to be receptive towards the whole board, not just half the board. You can't just knock a person off the board and say, you off the board now, I don't gotta listen to you. That be same move that knocks you off the board. If you're not listening, if you're not willing to sacrifice and take a taste of what Bumpy did, not what Big Meech did too, but what Bumpy did too.
I totally.
What was the last book you read, brother? Like, cause you just
I want to
dropping
write a
jewels.
book.
Mad
I want to write a
like-
book because, like I said, when you get with certain people who are not, they're not fighters. They're philosophers. So you as a fighter want to be philosophical because that's how you get the inner peace that you are seeking as a fighter, as a person who's trying to fight to be heard and fight to do everything right. You want to know how to be smooth and philosophical and understand in every circle how to conduct yourself. Where's your place? There's always a place for you, but where is your place? A lot of people want to be in the front. You might be on the side or the back.
Stay in your fucking lane.
That's what I'm
right.
saying.
Yeah.
Stay in your fucking lane.
Yeah, but what's the last book you read though? Like, did you read like?
Well, I like to read books that people normally wouldn't read, like Seven Steps of Success.
Okay.
Then I like this autobiography called Murder Machine.
Okay.
How the real murderers really think and what they had to do to get away with it.
That's kind of dark, yo. God damn.
Well, I'm a dark person because I'm an ID channel freak. So I go to sleep to the ID channel. I go to sleep to murder, rape, and mayhem.
So
Wow.
the smooth parts will throw people off. God
Yeah,
damn it.
yeah.
All right.
But you know that everybody has a
Smooth criminal, like-
everybody has a dark side to
All
it.
right, but I ain't
You
know
know
it
what I
was
mean?
that dark.
It's
Yeah.
able to be controlled. You know, New Yorkers are gothic. Come on now.
It definitely is. So I want to get into another break, and I want to hear you have another song called "Pretty Remix."
It's called petty.
Petty. I'm
Petty.
Yes.
sorry.
That's the remix.
Yeah,
It's called
and
Petty.
that's a perfect segue from coming out of the dark.
Yeah.
You know, but before so let's get into that. Are you ready, Selecta? Because we was dark and now we being real petty and we be right back with it.
There
though.
you go.
Real
Found it,
smooth.
though.
I know I said less than a time up.
That was so sexy. Is that one of the joints that you're gonna perform?
Oh, you know I am.
Yes.
Sunday, November 24th, live at
November
SOB.
24th. Make sure you got clean drawers on.
That's right,
all
baby.
Don't make me fucking stress that. Yes.
Supposed to have clean drawers on every day, but
No, some bitches is nasty. Right? Some bitches is nasty. You know, I don't know. So moving forward, when was the last time you spoke to Pete Rock?
It's been a minute. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. You know, he's always be my brother.
Okay.
So my thing is, you know, the conversation and not speaking is a little bit drastic, but you know, people are allowed to choose what paths they're gonna lead, and that doesn't mean that I have to agree with it or I have to accept it. It's just a fact of life right now, and then everything can change. You just have to keep your door open and keep your mind towards being respectful and wanting people to, and you treating people like you want to be treated, regardless of who they are. Oh, you always miss a person that you truly love and respect. Even though you don't get along with him and you don't agree with the things that he does, doesn't mean that you stop loving and respecting him. You just love people from afar.
Yes, I mean, and then I think it's so kind of ironic too because the Clean Energy Tour, that was the last time you headlined
Right,
together,
right.
actually performing. That was just in 2010. You know, 9 years ago, almost 10 years.
But we performed more than that. We
Okay.
performed. I think our last tour was 2017.
Okay.
So that was the last time, and I think it was positive, but it went downhill from there. My thing is if you keep it business, nothing should stop you. If it's about business, if it's about something else, then I understand. But there's nothing you can't say to me, whether I agree or not, that we can't sit down and discuss. So as men, that's what needs to be done. As individuals, that's
did the
what needs to be
relationship
done.
start as business or did it start as a friendship? Or
I think it started as both because you have to be friends in order to want each other to succeed at something. You have to basically get together and be cohesive and be a unit and have a bond to do what we did. If there's no chemistry,
That's in magic.
if there's no chemistry, it's just equivalent to a marriage. If there's no chemistry in the marriage, then it doesn't last. It has to be organic. It has to have some chemistry, and you have to want to be involved in it. You have to want to respect it. Like any relationship in your life, whether they're your best friends, it takes work.
So like, is it safe to say you felt like he's not putting in the effort to make it happen?
I feel like there are
Cause like
people.
you having tours, like y'all walk off set and then that's it. Like,
Well, my thing is, I would love to speak for his side, and I'm sure he would love to speak for my side. But it only comes when two people want to speak. I don't have a problem with speaking and having a platform because I always want to be heard. I always want to be the one to have that solution that I was talking to you about that I learned from Heavy D. Now, if that's your cousin, the apple shouldn't fall too far from the tree.
yeah. But everybody is different at the same time.
And that's why I don't judge.
Okay.
Because I want to give somebody the free will to do it how they want to do it and come to me when they want to come to me. The only
Did
thing
you ever
now,
express that to him? Like, yo, like.
listen, a person that says they know you, then they should know you. You shouldn't have to sell yourself. They know you already. They know what your capabilities are negative, so they should know what your capabilities are in a positive way. So if you know me, I don't have to sell it. You know where it's at.
But
You
what
know
if that's what he wants?
what?
What if that's what he wants to you to just be like, listen, I want to talk right fucking now. Let's meet somewhere. Not so much aggression, but you know, let's
Come
do
on.
the damn thing.
Are we talking about the same person that can argue with a stranger? Of course you could talk to me. You could be online arguing with a stranger. You could talk to me. You could divert all that energy to me. That's all you got to do. I mean, this is about creativity. My thing is, whether you like me or not, that's good. Because it's creativity. Come on. Okay, so now when we were kids, we liked each other. Now we not supposed to like each other now. So how do we create around that? Let's make records off of how much you don't like me. It's creative. So maybe we need to start fighting it and start joining
Maybe
it.
that's what it needs. We need like a celebrity
You know what I'm saying?
deathmatch, Legends Edition, and y'all just duke the fuck out.
But that's my
And
creative
that's the
thought
ghetto.
process.
Let's get in, let's go in the studio
That's
and
my
let's
thought.
go.
That's my creative thought process of solutions. Because why should we hide? The people. Why should I say, well, don't ask me no Pete Rock questions. Oh, we're not into that.
But I'm sorry, we want to know because that was like that's how we knew who you guys were.
Right. So you can't have one without the other.
Exactly.
One wasn't created without the other helping. That's what I want to get out there. Again, I'm going to say it again if some people are slow. One wouldn't be great without the other. One made the other. So no matter how many remixes he does or produce records, I help make you. You help make me. We made each other. One didn't make the other. We made each other.
That's a fact.
So you feel like a lot of egos, because Pete Rock did an amazing job. Like he's responsible for a lot of early classic records like Illmatic and all of that. So
It's Mecca and the Soul Brother. We
You
talking
know-
about.
Why shouldn't you have an ego? You should be allowed to have
but
an
I'm talking
ego.
about outside.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying.
You should be allowed to have an ego inside, outside, the way you want it, but come back to the base of things, the foundation of what made you. Listen, you weren't rich and I was poor. We came in this game nutted together. So that's a big difference than you coming in and you handing me a check and I'm going out to feed my family. No, we got a check together. We got signed together. What you do on your own and what I do on my own has nothing to do with it. It's about what you do collaboratively to make a name and a face in this culture.
What's a misconception of CL Smooth that people may have?
That he's difficult. I think they get me mixed up with the beefs of my group. That I'm a difficult person to work with because everybody has an opinion. But my opinion is you can always talk to me. My platform is open. Why would you want to judge something you're not trying to get to know or you're not trying to get to recognize? Or you feel, 90% of my friends that I grew up with don't really know what's best for you, but they're going to have an opinion.
That's a fact.
Okay, so how many blocks can people talk about that on? I'm talking to you about problems everybody has, not just me. Everybody has this problem with people they know and people they do business with. So if we worked at the supermarket, you mean we can't work together? We don't get along, but we can't
can't
work
be on the
together?
same shift
Of
no
course
more?
we
So
can.
what, is he like rejecting your phone calls? Like did you try to
He
reach out and
listen,
not do
he
or
re-
he'll, like say yeah I'm coming.
The
but then
rejection,
show up?
the rejection is not talking.
Okay.
That's the rejection. Is not talking. How can you go Christmas? How could you not say happy birthday? How could you not say happy Thanksgiving? How could you not say happy? What did you do for Valentine's Day? Let's have a cup of coffee. Let's have a cup of tea. This is the language I speak. I don't know what language he speaks.
Do you feel like he may be dealing with his own demons on his own time? Because sometimes,
I'm not a psychiatrist. I don't really care. I care about the money. This is what I care about. Ask me what I care about, though. I don't care about what a nigga be doing when he's home, how many times he argue with his wife and I got to keep that date, what you do, what you did with your child support money. I don't care. Come to the studio and get busy. This is what I did. This is what I sacrificed to be this person. I didn't go out and have 10 kids, to have 10 problems, to have 10 women talk to me different. I did my time. I put my kids through college. Turn around and ask me. I took my money and I put kids through college. I didn't turn around and make excuses. So if you're not crediting me for a person that can sit down and talk and do business, I don't really give a fuck what your attitude is. Bring your attitude ass to the studio.
Bring your ass to the studio, Big Rock.
Yeah.
All right, because we
don't give a
need
fuck.
that. And I follow both of you, and I don't really see him doing like other music much. You know what I'm saying? Do you feel like that's where he's at? He's probably not there. He doesn't want to.
I don't care what he's at. This is a fight. I don't care about none of that because without it, who are you? What are you? What do you do? Without it, just take it off. What do you do? Who are you? How many houses you got again? How many cars you got again? Okay? How many banks do you go to drop off money and pay that bill? Come on. Let's talk about real life shit. Let's not talk about how much a nigga need a psychiatrist or what's on a nigga's
So you
mind.
mean to tell me if he came to you and be like, yo, I'm
It's time to go to work when you come to me. It's time to go to work. It ain't time to smoke my weed and drink my wine. It's time to go to work. Then you could smoke my weed and drink my wine. If we ain't working, I don't give a fuck. My eyes is like this. I'm focused on the prize. I'm not focused on the bullshit because then I won't talk to you. If I got bullshit, if I'm over here looking sideways, then I'm not looking forward at what needs to be looked at in order to be successful. My thing is what is negative, you turn into a positive. Because he don't do music no more is not my business. He does music, he need to listen to the old music, and that will show you how the path to get back to where you need to be. The old music tells you, you turn a negative into a positive. I don't have to say nothing. Just put on the record. You made it, right? It's your music, right? Okay, you put on the record and you listen to those lyrics, and that should show you the path to get back to where you need to be. I don't have to sell it. I don't have to sell
It
myself.
sells itself.
It sells itself.
Yeah, and kudos to Pete Rock as well, because one of my favorite things about you guys' album was in between the songs.
Skits and
Yeah,
everything.
the interludes, the different beats, and
the
I'd be
beat
like,
beats and all
somebody
that.
need to get on that motherfucking track. Like, I don't hear that. But anyway.
And it's about fun. It's about doing
Yeah.
something you love.
I know you
And when
miss each
both,
other.
yeah, I mean, come on. You can easily sit here and be bitter, but what do I have to be bitter about life for?
I would love to see that.
I love life. I get to go to my big house. I get to drive my car. I get to go to the store and buy food and buy clothes. What else is there to do? I travel around the world.
Get to
I
go
work.
to SOBs
What
on
do we have
November
to do?
Yeah,
24th.
because he's giving y'all Caramel City.
That's
though.
right. That's right.
Yes, the Mecca Dome. What was your religious background?
I think I took a little bit of everything.
Okay.
Because when you have everything around you, you got the 5%ers, you got the Muslims, you got the Israelites, you got the Baptists, you got the Christians.
But what was your household?
My household was mixed. My household was a little bit of crazy, a little bit of Baptist, and a little bit of Jehovah's Witness.
Okay. The reason why I'm asking that, because on the album you break down Mecca and,
Yes.
and all of that, and it sounds Islam and 5% and stuff like that. So what was the switch to that? Like how you go from Jehovah Witness Baptist to 5% of Nation of Islam?
I think just taking a little bit of pieces of everything. And it's like, okay, when you're preparing a meal, you got the meat, you got the fish or the meat, whatever you eat, and then you got the starch, you got the vegetable, and you got the little biscuit or the cornbread right there. This is all the ingredients you need in religion to make one religion for you. It's because it's what you believe in. You might not say, well, I love Jehovah's Witnesses. I love their temperament, but I might not want to be that. I might not want to be that, but I'm taking pieces of their character and good pieces of their literature, and I'm forming myself to make my character what it is. And it's all dealing with God and spirituality. So if you all got to be praying to one God for us to be praying together. We got to pray to the same God. And they all seem to be talking about the same God, but in different languages. And all that teaches you is to go from different sets and be able to understand. And when what you don't understand, you're willing to learn.
Yeah, and I had to ask that question because I did hear that you would have Jehovah Witness and all that. We leave in, all right, black.
No, I was just telling him because
I thought
he
was
loves the
cussing
Bible.
every fucking-
No, black loves the Bible.
Trust me, I know. We
Okay.
had a whole argument in
All
the
right,
half
all right,
about that. He had me.
all right.
Yeah, shout out to Blacksmith and
Yes.
Grind.
Grind.
Yeah, all Grind Photography.
That's right.
Shout out to him. He be doing the 360
All
videos
day.
all day. He be at all the locations with all your favorite celebrities doing it. We gotta have him on the show as well and do
Facts.
an interview and talk to him about his experience because I know he got stories.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So trust me, I have my fair share of talking religion with
For
him,
real,
and he
for
don't
real.
play no games. When
No
it comes
games.
to that. Yeah, so that's why I heard about your household religious background, and then me re-listening to your work, I'm like, he
Yeah.
opens up the album,
Mhm.
breaking down Mecca and everything like
mhm.
that. So I wanted to know what was the shift, or when did the shift
I
happen?
think I think when my cousin, we're first cousins, our mothers are sisters, but he's more like a brother than a cousin because we're so close. But he went to college, and his freshman year he came back and he was Ronnie Butler, and then he came back and he was Adolfo Abdullah Muhammad.
Okay.
And from the struggles of that, of me balancing, which one are you, I embraced who he was, and I found that it was genuine, and it was who he was. That person of him had died, and now this has emerged,
Yes.
and the
And that
lessons
inspired you.
and that inspired me.
Okay.
For him to talk on the introduction of the album, that was him actually talking.
Okay.
So it like the information he was giving me, and we also co-wrote a song on Mecca and the Soul Brother called "Anger in the Nation," and all that information I got from him, and we sat down and we helped write this. So I mean, like I'm a person that likes to learn. I like to learn what that is. If I'm inquisitive about it, I want to learn about it, and then I want to share it with people, because I feel it's a shame for you to have some knowledge of things and you can't share it with people. Knowledge is to share; it's not to keep for yourself.
Yeah. And I appreciate that you sharing. I'm sorry, Selecta, we're about to wrap it up. But before we go, I kind of want to, I'm kind of curious. I want to ask you this question. We ask everybody
Go
who
ahead.
sits in our chair. Who's your top 5, dead or alive?
All right, but you can't say Biggie, Jay-Z, Nas.
think
They
you
the
can say.
you don't know what you gonna say, because
Yeah.
everybody say that's the easy go-to. We already know they the gods of it. You a god of it too, but we just want to know your personal choice.
If I can pick today,
Anytime.
I would pick an artist like maybe Ti,
Okay.
that I like, a J Cole.
Yes, he was here. That's the name I was talking about. He was here.
With the ladies, I like a Nicki Minaj. I like
How you feel about her retirement?
I
You
haven't
think
really
she's
thought
gonna
about.
retire? She gonna
I haven't
enjoy
really
it?
thought about it. I mean, if that's her preference, if she wants to, but I just enjoy, her flash and her personality.
Yeah.
And I know where it comes from. It comes from the Foxy Browns. It comes from the Little Kims.
Yeah.
I love Remy Ma. I love Remy Ma.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love her all the way around. And I think right now, I'm starting to feel the baby.
Okay.
Yes, I like the baby too.
Yeah, and
Okay.
yeah, I like that. I
CL
like that
Smooth
guy.
endorses the baby. You heard it here first.
You go hard
Yes.
though. You go hard.
Yes. And well, we got the opposite question too.
Yeah. Your bottom 3. Bottom 3 meaning like the 3.
The 3 artists who should have never touched the mic. Like you heard this shit, it was like, oh my god, that shit is trash. Get off my radio.
That's a good question.
Thank you, Jig.
I mean, that's an awesome
To all
question
you
because
biters out there,
I never
thank
really
you,
looked.
Jig.
I never really heard anybody that really said, "Oh my God, like what are you doing?"
Never.
No,
It could be at any, cause any genre, whether it was the '90s, early 2000s.
High school lunchroom,
You know what I'm
beating on the
saying?
table.
I mean, I'm so. I mean, I'm not a bottom feeder. I don't feed from the bottom. I don't feed it. I'm always floating. So when you tell me what kind of things are crawling on the bottom, I don't really know.
Crawling
I don't really know. I don't really
I
know.
don't even know. That doesn't even register.
Yeah, I'm like you guys. I don't know. I would have to really, really swim down there to really know what
I
is
could dig
down
it.
there.
I
You
could
know what
dig
I'm
it.
saying?
I could
To
dig
be
it.
honest, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure that there's guys that open up for me all around the world that weren't good, but you only can think about the contenders. You can only think about what the process took for you to be successful. Now, if you're looking at that, I would say, there's something wrong if you're close enough or can see it.
Shoulders with somebody and be like, why you was here? Like,
Well, I'm sure you have, but what you do as an individual is you don't try to be so judgmental.
Yeah.
You try to give them the benefit of the doubt. I mean, weren't they throwing away Eminem's tapes before he was, I mean, you had to have a level of this is where you were and this is where you're going to end up. I mean, I remember doing an interview and this is before I even heard about Little Yachty.
Yeah.
And I was like, how could he
He's
say
a bad
he's
guy. He's a bad
how could he
guy.
say he's better than Biggie or he's legendary
Who was
like
saying
that?
that though? People said that shit before. Like,
This is what was told to me.
oh my
You know what I'm
God,
saying?
what y'all
And this is
doing?
what made me look him up and listen to his music.
Yeah.
And it's an acquired taste. But
That
I'm a
means your
New
shit
Yorker.
tastes like nut
It's
on a
an
sweaty day.
It's an acquired taste.
What?
And the only I know the only thing about that is that you have to really sit down and really listen to what he's saying. Whereas Biggie is a movement, Biggie is an institution, Biggie is a monument. It's like saying, okay, we gonna go and take over this project, and Biggie's like the Empire State Building. So I'm saying, it's again,
and you're the bodega
it's like
up the block.
it's like all the successful boxers out now,
Yeah.
20 and 21, they're not saying Sugar Ray who or I'm better than Sugar Ray.
And that day I
Or
said shit about Mike.
I'm better than this one or that. You know what the best ones say? I studied Sugar Ray Robinson. I studied Mike Tyson. I studied these guys. That's what makes them dangerous is that they recognize history so they understand what being young is and how important it is to be young and growing, knowing the knowledge of what these old jacks did and what they didn't do, and you getting it right.
Because you're going to be old one day,
Yeah.
God
Oh,
willing.
you're gonna be old longer.
Yeah.
Then you're gonna be younger.
Yeah, God willing.
So
Yes.
you gotta be able
If
to
you
like
make it.
absorb certain things if you make it, because there's a lot of things out there that doesn't allow you to make it. But if you do, and you got enough sense enough to just absorb, it's not. You don't gotta agree with all the shit. You just gotta say, okay, I'm gonna take this part and I'm gonna filter out all the rest of that dumb old shit he talking about.
Oh my God.
Because my shit is on 70 and his shit only go 30.
Right? There's so much more I want to talk to you about, but we do have to wrap it up. Like, really, I don't want to, though. Like, I got like 10 more
damn,
questions, I swear.
Killing me.
Yes, okay. Dang. All right, there's one thing I did wanted to ask, and before we leave, because I didn't get to ask you earlier in this interview. What is one of your favorite moments with Heavy D? And the reason why I'm stuck on Heavy D because we are celebrating his life. What is one great memory that you could share that probably nobody never knew about?
I think that there was a time where we weren't talking, and then when we got to speak to each other, he said, I love you a lot, man. I love you very much. Don't ever think I don't love you. And I thought that was kind of big of him to say in that moment where I could tell being 26, 27, like, fuck you talking about? Like, fuck are you talking about? But it's what I hang my hat on because he didn't have to say it. So when I humble myself, I say, damn, man, I love you too. You was all right, man. And it took a man, like I said, a man to say that. Some things, gifts they give you, you really don't know they're gifts. You really don't know till they're gone, and you say, "Damn, he gave me a gift." Like old people, like even I do. I find myself repeating shit over and over and over and over and over again. And he say, "Why you keep telling me this same story like you never told me?" Because when I leave here, and I'm not here no more, that's all you gonna be talking about is what the fuck I told you over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Then you gonna be saying that same shit and teaching somebody else.
Yes. Shout out to that. Is there anything that you feel like you regret or anything that you wish that you could have changed in your career?
Oh, there's a whole bunch of that I would regret, but then why would you change anything because you wouldn't be able to grow? Nothing is perfect. Nothing is the perfection of it is the imperfections. That's the perfections of it. So if that's not over your head, it's time in order to do things and be successful. You got to go through the peaks and the valleys and the pitfalls and the ups and downs of it. Otherwise, you don't have no appreciation for anything. If you didn't earn it, if you didn't earn this shit, if you didn't say, damn, I'm closing my door, my house is big, these motherfuckers didn't want me to have shit, but I'm here.
Nigga, we made it.
Yeah.
Yes. It was such a pleasure and an honor.
Thank
Like,
you.
I feel so privileged to sit here and even have this conversation with
Oh,
you.
it's all love.
I feel 10 times smarter. Just, we gotta have you come back again.
It's all
and
love.
Talk some more. I just want to.
This is therapeutic for me.
I can tell it's different for me too. Like,
hell
hey,
yeah.
this is
So
better than the
what's
album.
it, right?
You know, black people are scared of therapy, so you know that's what it is.
Nah,
I ain't scared of therapy.
Nah,
I've been
I'm
to
not.
therapy.
Especially
For real.
if I had a counselor like you, I would never be scared.
It's all
I'd be
love.
front and
Thank you.
center early, every motherfucking week. I want
That's
more
right.
than an hour.
It's
'cause
love.
I think we have more than an hour.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
love.
Hell yeah. So once again, tell everybody where they can see you. You doing what again?
Sunday, November 24th at the legendary SOB.
SOB.
An intimate evening with CL Smooth.
Smooth.
Get your tickets now.
And your
Ladies'
panties
night.
together. He could probably got some flowers.
What's up with you and panties, Shata?
You might have to
bring
break
the
up with
panties,
your
man.
man for like the whole weekend.
Tell
Just
your man
start
to bring
an
you.
argument.
But don't
Just
worry,
start an
because it's
argument.
Thanksgiving week too, so they can
There you
make up
go.
while I go in
Yeah,
there
you
and
can
cooking
make
up that
up
good
by
grub.
making a turkey. So break up with the nigga for like a weekend.
You only in town for the night. You understand?
You only in town for the night. You know what I'm saying? And
Yes,
shit
sir.
can get real petty. You don't know.
I mean?
You don't know. You know what I'm saying? So
Just
make sure
saying.
you got all your shit together, plan it. Plan your I'm sorry's first, but definitely break up with that nigga. Get your laces and your hair nails did. And I want to see y'all ladies there too, because I'm throwing drawers up there.
November
You better be.
24th, Sunday.
24th, pre-Thanksgiving.
November 24th.
Get it, ladies' night.
Yes.
I want to thank everybody that was watching us this week. I hope y'all enjoyed this show. If you're watching, if you're streaming live. But if you're watching on YouTube, please hit that subscribe button right motherfucking there. Get that bell so you can see all our interviews as we post it. Are we up off this though?
Yeah, we up out of here.
We up off this?
Peace.
Bonga
We
dong.
up off this. CL Smooth. Caramel City.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Let's lick it up.
Yeah, we're gonna take
Look it
pictures.
up.
I hope you didn't break nothing.
Down for the weekend. Well, that's quite enough time to get that freaking. I take that ass down, down for the weekend. You got a man, but you got a town creeping, baby, huh?
Yes. Please send me. I don't even want to take pictures on my phone. But send that to me. I know that shit gonna be lit.
Thank you, boss man.
Wait, let's take a selfie. We gotta do that.
Yeah. Thank you, bro. Appreciate it. Just to let you know.
I'm so sorry.
Take my email.
You know what you have to do.
You see the dust in my down for the weekend.